and concisely. And once you learn how to do that, then you can bring in all the stakeholders and you can get into programs that'll help you and train you on how to build it. But that first step is you have to design a business model that is desirable.
When I initially moved back to Pensacola, I had a meeting with Lloyd. Lloyd invited me for breakfast, and I was telling him, man, I still have an idea for the entertainment industry. This is what I wanted to do. He was like, all right, I got Startup on the Blocks. So I need you to start coming to Startup on the Blocks and get a little more information on how to work through the tech ecosystem and take your idea and we'll get you where you need to go. My company is called The Know, is an app that is streamlining business for the entertainment industry. Yeah, so if you're a musician, what you would do is pretty much jump on the platform, you'll create a profile, but the way we created the profile is pretty much a cleaner way. So now if they want more information about you, you'll connect your social media platforms, your streaming platforms, and that way they can go directly to it. What we also have included is your calendar. So pretty much you can set your days, you can set your price for your days and automate your booking. So initially talking to Lloyd, my idea was all here, it was there, it was over here, it was over there. It was like, all right, Quinn, I get it. You got a lot that you want to do, but we need you to bring it in just a little bit and then work on your pitch, your story, and how you're going to bring it full circle to get people to understand what you're trying to create.
Most of the programs here wasn't inclusive, and so we said we'll focus on helping founders of color. We also start at the beginning of the thing, at the idea stage, whereas a lot of the programs you see here locally, they start after you're up, and that's not very efficient unless if you don't have a lot of money, you can't recover from your mistakes. And the lean startup system, it actually helps you make mistakes faster before you spend a lot of money. You don't actually start building anything until you got customer buy-in.
There was a need for small businesses to bring brand awareness to their business. I see there's a lot of makers and bakers that they're making all of these goodies and these products, but they can't market it, they can't sell it at the same time, and there needs to be kind of like that middleman, that middle person to help bring economic growth to some of the small businesses in Pensacola. So Taste of Pensacola, I came up with that idea during the pandemic when I saw things at that time that Amazon couldn't fulfill. They didn't even have those products, but the local people in the community, they did. And so there was a ton of people coming out saying, hey, I make masks. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. All the local people here that are just as talented that can actually make those products. And so I wanted to kind of showcase who they were. So with Taste of Pensacola, our income streams, we have several of them. We have the corporate America, we do corporate gifting, just regular consumers, different Pensacola natives that don't live here that want to purchase our boxes, like a taste of weddings, distribution. So we also do bulk sales. So for a private airline, if they want some local snacks and goodies on their passenger flights, they will come to Taste of Pensacola and we will source their vendors here locally. And we'll give a small business owner an opportunity to have reoccurring monthly sales. I've always had a really big vision for Taste of Pensacola. I knew that it could go beyond just local. I know that maybe other communities could possibly use the same platform that I'm trying to build. And I always have these big visions, but I never know how to even get there. Where do I start? I know it's more than, there's a lot of technical things behind it. I know there's a lot of research, but that connection, I never had it until, thankfully, I met and was introduced to Startups on the Blocks and was able to just learn more about how to grow it in terms of data. Things I just never thought about, framework, words like traction. There's a lot of things that I just did not know about and language that I need to know in order to get funding for my business. There's just a lot that I didn't know.
I would go to the stores and look online. They didn't have a wide variety of natural hair products about 8 years ago. And the ones that they did have, the ingredients, it would say that they were all natural. And when I would research the ingredients, a lot of the ingredients were not natural. I make everything, my shampoo, conditioner, I have an oil that I make, and I have 2 different separate butters. Like I had some people who were completely bald and grew their hair. It's about giving women their confidence back in their hair. I have this salon and then I have a second salon, and I have my products in about 5 beauty supply stores. So I need a manufacturer to keep up with the demand at this point. Startup on the Blocks has helped my business grow. Send me to different people. I'm able to do different pitch competitions to apply for grants in the community for small businesses. Lloyd's a really good person to connect with. He has a lot of resources here in the community that can help small businesses grow. If you have a product out there and you're trying to go big time, he's the person that you would want to meet with.
So it's really important to have some type of support because 9 times out of 10, most founders start out on their own. And to have somebody that has an idea of how the ecosystem works and is able to tap into other resources and bring back to the community, and that pretty much has encountered some of the roadblocks or going through the same roadblocks that we're currently going through and understands where you're at, your culture and how you respond to things, is a big help because you don't really have too many people that have access to what we have access to here in the community. And a lot of people believe that you have to leave and go to bigger cities to do the things that we're doing here. But I mean, it's one thing to have exposure, but you have to actually know it's here in the community in order to take advantage of the resources. So I get approached and I talk to friends all the time that wants to either start an idea or hear that I'm actually doing the app and wants to know more information about how are you doing it or what's the process, what's the path. I'm like, man, we have somebody here, Startup on the Blocks, Lloyd Richard. And Lloyd is here, he's a great resource to the community and to founders that's trying to learn the ecosystem. So join Startup on the Blocks.
Welcome, guys. Welcome to Startup on the Blocks. We're glad to be here on this Thursday evening. We got a couple of guests here, and we're going to have them introduce themselves in a minute here. But first, I'm going to give a shout out to our sponsors. Get that going here. So we're here every Thursday, thanks to these folks here, and it's a really neat deal to have the support so we can work with Black founders all over the world and support them in their founders journey. So big shout out to our sponsors here. And we're definitely thankful. And guess what? We're gonna have some new partners pretty soon. I guess we should have the Make Startup down here. I don't know why it's not up there now. So we'll get into that a little later. And as of today, we got a partnership with Coda.io, so we'll get to put them up here. Yes, and we also have a lot more sponsors based on our summit that we're starting off tomorrow here in Pensacola, and we're going to be also streaming live. So make sure you register and so you can participate in that. All right, guys, take a minute or two each to introduce yourselves.
Absolutely. I guess I'll start off. So my name is Vincent Brown Jr.
And I'm Paige.
And we're New Level Strategy.
And we actually work with Make Startups as partnership communication specialists and partnership development strategists. And specifically at New Level Strategy, what we do is we work with organizations, we work with schools, and what we do is we focus on their leadership identity. We focus on creating strategic team execution plans, which is also STEP. So we help walk them through steps to have an accountability ecosystem for them to have more successful and significant results in their business and in their organization.
That was fantastic. Anything else, Vincent?
We'll leave it at that, and we'll save the rest for the conversation.
All right. So yeah, definitely excited. And where are you guys from?
So from Augusta, Georgia,
and from Charlotte, North Carolina.
So you're all down for the Black Founders Innovation Summit?
Absolutely. Yes. After the 7-hour drive?
Okay.
It was 7-hour drive.
So, well, we're definitely glad to have you here and to support doing a little bit more promotion on that as well. Right. Okay. What do we have in store for you all at the summit? We got a lot of great things. And one of the things I wanted to point out is we sort of set this up to follow some of the best practices for building a startup. And so we're going to kick it off on Saturday morning talking about this dynastic wealth framework from Dr. LaTanya White. And she's going to it's all about families passing wealth down through generation. It could be wealth and financially, property, or whatever. but that's what she did all her research in, and so but she's put that into an entrepreneurship framework. Okay, so yeah, and that's going to be really neat. And so, and then she's going to roll into a mindset. So one of the biggest challenges founders have, getting that right mindset, right?
Mindset, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's what's so fantastic about that. So we're looking forward to that's the first step. Get that foundation and that mindset to get, because this journey is challenging, and so you want to make sure you got the right mindset. And everybody should be trying to integrate AI into their business. So Rose Legist, with her engineering and tech solutions firm, she's been working with organizations to help them understand how to collect data from their business operations processes, and so she's going to help give you the basics of how to start leveraging your operations data and your application data. So if you build an application, you want to be able to do that. So AI is the number one tool for innovation. So if you're trying to be innovative, Black Innovation Summit.
Shameless plug.
So she's going to help with that.
Wow.
Yeah, and then we're going to break for lunch, and then we're going to come back with successful Black founders panel. And so the deal there is this young lady. She was on last week, and for example, she's been winning pitch competitions, and so she's going to tell us some of the best practices she used to do that. She still works full time. But she works on a startup part-time, and she's literally taking advantage of the ecosystem to earn money to finance the development of her product.
It's amazing.
That's one of the best practices. Don't spend your own money. Don't go out and borrow any money.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so that's good. And so Caleb here, he's a really interesting gentleman. And he's launching his product all over the world with the help of U.S. embassies in all these different countries. Oh, how would you like that kind of help to get your product all over the world?
Hey, it sounds amazing.
Yeah,
visibility.
Yeah, and Adrian is a product guy, product development guy. Okay, and so he's going to be participating from Miami. And so that's going to be fantastic. We had him on a few weeks ago as well. Wow. And so one of the questions that he got during his presentation, and I think it might be worth taking a minute, because this is part of the best practices for building stuff. So one of the folks in the audience asked, well, how do you recruit a co-founder, a tech co-founder? And so here's what he said. I'll just play.
So startups are a science, but they're also a bit of game theory, right? And oftentimes, what do people want to be a part of? They want to be a part of something that's moving already, right? So at every step of the way, when you're talking to somebody, co-founder, investor, ecosystem, checking in with Lloyd, it's got to seem like something's happening. There's got to be a beat to it, right? So even when you're pitching a co-founder, what you don't want to say is, oh my gosh, we've been frustrated, this app's not working, the last guy didn't really build it properly, and can you come help us? They're going to be like, oh, it's so great. Why don't you have a long line of engineers wanting to join this team? What you want to say is, I'm scheduled to pitch a startup grind. I'm scheduled to pitch at 1909. I'm doing the Lloyd Startups on the Block pitch competition soon. We're moving really fast right now. We're super excited. Potentially, we're looking to raise $2 million for our first round. I'm talking to investors right now. I'm having conversations. And we just want to get this MVP done so we can get ahead of all this. That's very different. That's a very different explanation than, hey, I'm frustrated, come help me build my startup.
Yeah, so we're going to be answering all your questions about that kind of stuff. So it should be pretty interesting to for this weekend. And so one last thing I'll say about Caleb is he's literally making money from his grandmother's recipe on how to prevent muscle stiffness.
Wow.
Okay, can you imagine? He's taking passing that, he's getting knowledge from his grandmother,
Right.
to actually, patent a remedy for muscle stiffness, to prevent muscle stiffness. And the Dallas Cowboys are even using his product.
Wow.
Wow.
And he's marketing that and other stuff all over the world. So that's pretty fantastic.
Good.
So being a founder, you have to learn the best practices for building a startup. And you can't just be alone somewhere in a corner. Nobody knows what you're doing. Yeah. And so, like, for example, Shantia, she says she applies for 3 to 5 different things a week.
Wow.
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah. And so that's an example. And then everybody wants money to raise money for their startup. So we got a panel about the money. And so my philosophy always is, when you prepare, you get all your stuff lined up, whether you're doing a traditional business or whether you're doing a startup, and you have to get stuff lined up. And we have, I think we've broken our wildest dreams on sponsors. These are just a little sample of the sponsors and partners we have, and I'll show some more later. Right.
Wow.
Yeah. So what do you all think about the lineup we got?
I'm excited. I'm excited to be a part of these conversations. I'm excited to also see the impact that these conversations can have, because these are resources and information that can really give the tools that these founders need. Like, I truly believe that these conversations will change generations.
Yeah. So have in you all's, with the Make Startups and other programs up in the Augusta area, had you thought folks pick on the approach where you actually trying to make sure people understand the best practices for actually doing something? And so that's kind of so yeah. So what's your all experience been in the founders you see up in the Augusta area?
Yeah. So what I will say is, I'll go ahead and I'll comment on this panel and this lineup. I think it honestly has the ability to spark an entire innovation revolution. Like in the ecosystem community, like there's the potential to literally spark a revolution, because these conversations, they're what need to be had, inside of our community. And I say that as it relates to us, but also as it relates to entrepreneurship and as it relates to startups, because these conversations are not typically had. Sometimes we like to take these conversations and have them off in the back rooms, and we don't like to make the information public. But it's at the moment where you give the public and those that are ready and eager to take that information and now ready to execute on it. Once you can now pass that over, now you have the ability to go out and change generations. Like when we talk about like Dr. Latanya, like passing on that wealth and being able to now take something and not only pass it down, but maybe you can spread it across, or you can pass it up. And just having those different nuggets dropped in, exposing us to new things that we typically don't get a chance to hear. I think that's where we have the ability to literally change the diaspora, what's going on inside of this entrepreneurship and this startup realm. And as far as like back home in Augusta, some things that we've noticed when it's coming to our founders is they have a lot of amazing ideas. But I think one of the downfalls typically for us is we don't like to get inside of community. And we typically don't know how to create community that's centered around the ideas that we have. And because of us not being able to be inside of or create that community, we don't believe that our product or our idea has the possibility to actually be something that the market wants. Because we don't know how to, gather community and go out and conduct that research to figure out, okay, how many people actually need what it is that I'm desiring to make and that I'm desiring to create. I think that's been one of the main things, that we've been able to experience. But I can imagine it's just like here in Pensacola, where there's some extremely unique people that have these amazing ideas, but they just don't know how to take those ideas and how to turn them into something that the marketplace can take advantage of.
I definitely agree with that. I would say also like something that our founders are experiencing, and something we've seen is analysis paralysis. With taking in so much information, they decide not to move. They decide not to execute on what they're actually supposed to be doing, and a lot of times that results to what we call MWA, which is minimum wage activities, and that's just doing the administrative things, not really pushing the needle forward in their business, in their company, because they're focused on the wrong thing. So I think if they're taking time to get in community, taking time to be visible, and actually make sure they have conversations that can change the trajectory of where they're looking to go, that's something that we help with execution, and which is why we put together these strategic execution plans for a lot of founders that we come in contact with. And that's because, even throughout programs and programming, they still need to be assisted along that. And that's something that we love to do.
Fantastic, man. Fantastic. So yeah, there's a lot of support out there for a lot of different ways. One of the first things we want folks to understand is what is the startup journey, what phases you go through. And so we use this chart from Startup Commons to just so if you're going to become a founder or if you're going to start innovating, this is the kind of the phases that you go through from a product standpoint. You see, you got these phases that you're going through here, and then from an organizational standpoint, you going through these phases here. So this is just one way to look at it. So as a founder, you have to know where you are, so even if you're already up and running, so which one of these phases are you in? Or are you still validating, that you got a product out there and you're still validating things, or you got everything figured out and now you're trying to scale? Yeah. And so, but you have to understand, you have to go through these phases. Now we use the Lean Stack platform, and it has another way to look at these phases and these milestones that you actually reach. And it kind of gives them, a timeline that you can do it in it, but you don't have to do it in this timeline. But the number one thing, it leverages the Lean Startup methodology. There is a methodology for building a startup, and the most widely used methodology is the Lean Startup methodology. So you have to follow the methodology as one of the best practices. But in that methodology, the first thing you have to do is design a scalable business model. And then you have to learn how to pitch it clearly and concisely. That's what allows you to recruit co-founders. That's what allows you to get in the program. But if you miss this step, then and you're pitching your business model, you're not pitching the product because you haven't made your product. Right. And so that's kind of what the deal is there. And then so you just in the next first phase is this business model design, business model validation, and business model growth. But you have to reach these milestones within those. So even if you've been out there for a year or so and you still at the problem solution fit, But what you're trying to do is get to this product market fit over here, and because that's when things starts to take off.
Absolutely.
But you kind of get traction way back here based on pitching that business model and validating that. So that's pretty neat. Now this particular chart shows just like the other two charts, it looks at it in almost exactly the same way, but it shows from a business perspective. So you have a vision, you create your vision, and one of the first things you do when you create your vision is you figure out a company. You pick the company that's going to buy you. What a novel, novel concept. You pick a company to follow. Why would you want to, you're starting a new startup, why would you want to, reinvent the wheel when you can see other companies already out there doing something similar and learn from what they did. And so, so this particular approach, it's actually based on the guy who created the Startup Science platform. And it actually is based on him going through 12 exits.
Wow.
So whatever $1 billion in revenue created from those exits. And so that's the thing. So in this program, what's amazing about this, so we have this program and we make it available to any founder for free.
That's amazing.
So you got the knowledge of how to apply, how to talk to investors, or how to, do anything you need to do with your startup, and it keeps adding more and more material. So we want people to have access to these tools. And so I want every founder out there to design a scalable business model and stress test it to make sure it works. That we would save a lot of money and a lot of time, a lot of frustration on this journey to creating wealth. Yeah, and so we have this thing we call, this is our launch playbook. And what I want to say for the folks that are thinking about coming and still trying to make up their mind whether they're going to attend the summit, the deal is that the summit is kind of built around this playbook, and so this event site for the summit is actually going to become the playbook.
Wow!
And so you can always go back to the playbook and understand how to get where you need to go. So that's going to be pretty fantastic. So next, I would like to kind of help the audience get to know you both. So Vincent, tell us a little bit about your journey, like as a young person, middle school, high school. What were you thinking about, and how does that relate to what you're doing now?
Wow, yeah. So that's it. First off, that's an amazing question. So if I were to go back to middle and high school, so for myself, I've always been somebody that I consider myself to be pretty smart, I guess. And so throughout the years, going through school, there was a point in time in which I sought out business so hard because business was always something that fascinated me. I always took an extreme liking to it. It piqued my interest. And so I never knew what business actually was, though.
Okay.
I could acknowledge that there were businesses that were operating in the world, and that, obviously everything that's created in our economy typically is generated from businesses. I can identify those things, but if you were to ask me, well, what is a business? I couldn't tell you. And so there was a point in time that, because of what I felt like I lacked financially just growing up, even though I didn't have a rough upbringing, but the things that I felt like I lacked financially, like having to hear no sometimes when I wanted to do certain things that my friends were doing. And it caused me to go on this journey throughout high school of taking the business pathway class that we had at Cross Creek High School. And I just remember being in class and learning about business administration and, how to, like accounting and these different things. And because I was introduced to that at what I would consider such a young age, it was something that always was like that real pillar in my life. And I started to now surround my life with things that were of similar interest. And so that led me to going into college. And even though I wanted to go for photography because that was something that I was doing at the time, that was actually one of my interests. I ended up getting accepted into my dream school, which was Clark Atlanta University. But I didn't end up going. And so that led me to go to Savannah State, in which I studied marketing there.
Okay.
And now at Savannah State, it was so beautiful because even though I was in marketing class and I was learning from the professors and I was learning from my teachers, I ended up finding out that there were a lot of gaps in the information that I was actually being taught. And I noticed that the information that I was being taught wasn't applicable for me because it wasn't, but it was. Okay. I was the typical college kid. I didn't have much money, so I started throwing parties, like anybody else would. And so what I started to do was not throw these parties, but I started to use the things that I was being taught inside of my marketing classes to recruit people and have them come to my parties. And so what I always say is that, during that time of my life, I started to now associate my understanding of marketing with the information that I was being taught. but actually what I was executing like immediately after some of the classes. And so for myself, just being able to have that real world application, it allowed me to now understand that for me, business, the way that I had been taught business was completely wrong. Everything I knew about entrepreneurship and everything had been taught to me wrong. And I realized that business was nothing but relationship building. And I always, we were interviewed on a podcast recently, and I told a story of my grandmother, which was one of the most prominent figures in my life. She ended up passing when I was about 10 or so. And the thing that I always loved about her was that she prided herself on building long-term relationships in the community. And so for myself, as I began to now get older, I now started to pride myself on those same relationships. And just by being involved in certain things in college and high school and different leadership positions, even as that related to my career going after high school in sales and in different fields like that, it just allowed me to understand that everything was rooted at the center of relationship building. And so for myself now, what I would consider my technical title, which is partnership development specialist, and just being a partnership developer for me is nothing but building genuine relationships with people and figuring out how do we now literally bridge the gap? How do we now have two problems that we both individually have, two gaps that we both have? And how do we now fill them with either each other, or how do we now cross our networks, cross our resources to be able to solve those same problems? And so for myself, what I would consider my professional journey, it started out from me just understanding and just knowing that I just wanted to make money. And I later found out that once I actually became financially free, we both have backgrounds in real estate, and we tell the story all the time, having the months where making, on the track to making six figures while still living with my parents, and I reached financial freedom. But the month that I reached financial freedom for the first time, it was the most unfulfilled month that I've ever had in my life. And so it was at that point where I realized that for me, fulfillment wasn't necessarily the pay. And I knew that it had to be something else. And so I started to now seek out that something else, which led me on this, on this amazing journey, and Pat will go into his story, but that's actually what led us to meeting each other on January 27th of last year. And that was at the point where we took our individual entrepreneurial and just life experiences and we merged them in the middle because we realized that we had a common mission. And that common mission was literally to bridge the gap and to bring the resources to those that were underserved in our communities. And that's how we started our ecosystem building way before we were introduced to the technical side of ecosystem building as it related to, entrepreneurship and entrepreneur support organizations. And so life has been this beautiful blend of just taking these completely one-off, separate, unique experiences and merging them in the middle. And that's what has formed New Level Strategy. And I'll let Pat go ahead and go into his. But it's been this beautiful thing. And we always talk about it. We always say collapse of time because it was literally those years in which we spent on our individual entrepreneurship journeys. And we're doing all these different things. And we have all these goals and these things that we want to achieve. And we're going on 4 or 5 years just really, really trying to figure this thing out. And yes, we're having some success. But it was at the point where we merged together and we started creating community. And we made the vow that we would never leave community, that we will always be in it. And that's where we noticed that our timelines, literally, they were starting to be collapsed. Like the same things that we couldn't achieve in the last 5 years separate, we were now achieving those in like 2 months.
Yeah, so you were saying just by being involved in the community of people, founders or startup ecosystem, that actually speeded up the process.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll say this and I'll let Pat go ahead and go into his. So obviously, we're partnering with Make Startups, and Make Startups is housed inside of a building. It's called the Clubhouse. And so there's this quote that's on the wall of the Clubhouse as soon as you are walking out of the front doors, and it says, "Life moves at the speed of relationships." And it is those few words that has literally been a true testament to our life, our entrepreneurial journey, and just our life journey. But I'll leave it at that, and I'll let Pat go ahead and go into his background.
Yeah, that's beautiful because it's, for me, growing up in Charlotte, North Carolina, it was a struggle growing up, So when I was in middle school, I was in 8th grade, I ended up losing my father from a car accident. And, that was a pivotal time for me because growing up, my mom, she would struggle when it comes down to financial resources, and we would get evicted every single year.
Oh,
We had a lot of opportunities to be resilient, and I call it opportunities to be resilient for a reason, because some way, somehow, my mom always made a way, right, for us to get through. But when I was a very curious kid, I always studied what I lacked, right? So I saw that we had a financial readiness issue. I knew that my family needed guidance when it comes down to understanding financial literacy. So what I started to do at a very young age was study finances. I started to study, how can I be different? What is it that, that I can do personally that can change my family's patterns, right? Like sometimes, people call them curses. I call them patterns, because we can create new ones, right? And those are cycle of defeats that I decided that, I want to be the change. So in middle school, going into high school, I started to figure out, how to communicate, right? So I started to write poetry. I started to figure out how to express my emotions, and how to figure out how to also be able to share this with my family. So, going into high school, I literally was the type of person that was, introduced into ROTC, JROTC, Air Force JROTC. And that just taught me leadership in a different way. And, I had these instructors that always would tell me about real estate and them investing and into business. Wow. And I'm like, wow, this is the first time me hearing this, right, about investing in business, but it's coming from people that look like me, right? So I'm like, wow, that's possible. And I think that was something at a very young age I had to understand, that being financially free as a Black man, as a Black family, is possible, right? And I was able to see that through, my instructors in JROTC. So that was my first introduction to seeing what financial freedom could look like. And from that, I started to figure out ways, that I can make extra money on the side before I was even old enough to, be able to make money. I mean, even in elementary school, I had an entrepreneurial spirit of, my mom had food stamps, so she would buy me candy. I would figure out ways to go back to school and sell candy, and how to be able to get my friends to, sell candy for me as well. And they bring me back portions of their profit. So there was always like that spirit of entrepreneurship in me. I just never knew what that really was until later. So going through high school, I started, a dance club. I was into like performing arts. So I did a lot of like dancing, and that was just a way for me to express my emotions as well. And that's one thing I learned, is that communication is not just your words, it's how you can express yourself. So, I started to learn and study communication, which, throughout high school, I ended up, getting my first job, getting a car, purchasing my first car. And I started to figure out, well, if my family's not going to do it, I have to create an opportunity for me, but also my siblings, my younger siblings, so that they could have an example. So I understood that my leadership was not just about me. So I had to become selfless before I even started to understand deeper what business really was to me. And I ended up, graduating from high school. I got accepted to Howard, Morehouse, all these different colleges, but I decided not to go to college. I took a gap year instead. So I took an untraditional route. And in that gap year, I worked for Bank of America. So I was, the youngest person in the bank, 18 years old. And I remember going into the interview, and I still remember this to this day. And I remember going into the interview, I had like a bright orange folder, and had on a shirt and tie. I remember waiting in the lobby for my interview, and there was a gentleman who was in a full-blown suit. He had a briefcase, and I was just thinking to myself, wow, like, there's no way I'm going to get this job. This person is so much more prepared than me. I'm young. Like, there's no way I'm going to get it. And I end up interviewing. I end up getting the job. But when I got the job, they ended up telling me, about the guy in the interview. And they were saying, this guy who looked like he was super prepared couldn't even get his briefcase open inside of the interview. And that was funny to me, because I'm like, oftentimes what we do is we compare ourselves to people based off of what they look like, based off of what we see that they have. And I learned at a very young age, no matter what I see from others, I have to have the confidence in myself that I have something unique, no matter what other people may see. Gotcha. Right. And so that was my first example of understanding my uniqueness and how to be able to provide it as a value in the marketplace, no matter if that's on a job, no matter if that's in a business. So, from there, I ended up joining the military, I ended up joining the Air Force, like a year after working for the bank. Joined in as a signals analyst, going into Intel. And that was amazing for me because that exposed me to so many different things. But what I learned in the military was I had to find my own mission. In the military, you normally, you're mission focused, but I did not have my own mission. And that really made me drive myself to figure out what is my mission. Even though I'm an airman, what is my mission in life? So that's something that, I started to figure out 2 years in. So I bought my first house at 20 years old. I became a licensed realtor at 21. And that was my introduction to running a business. And I remember my broker telling me, you're not just in real estate, you're running your own business. So don't look at this as just as a license or as just something that you can use as a tool. You're running a business from now. So I remember just making that my priority. And that was my strategy to get out the military. So I ended up getting out the military, doing real estate full time. And as soon as I got out, the pandemic hit.
Oh, wow.
So I remember everybody in my family telling me I'm crazy. Why would you do that? You're leaving a dependable income on a business. And, so I actually did really well in real estate. I was a top real estate agent in my brokerage. But I decided to leave real estate because, again, just like Vince mentioned, I was being paid, but I wasn't being fulfilled. And what I ended up doing was I started to figure out, well, if this is not fulfilling me, what does? So I ended up inviting my family down to Augusta, Georgia from Charlotte, North Carolina. I ended up putting on a speaking engagement for the very first time. And I told my story for the very first time in front of my family, my friends, and people in the community. And that was my example of not waiting for an opportunity, but creating it. Gotcha. And once I learned that, I started to figure out how can I do this more often? So I started to share my vision and my mission with more and more people in the community. And throughout that journey, that kind of like fast forward is when Vincent and I met at a real estate event that neither one of us were going to go to. Okay. And that's the beauty of also attending networking events and sharing who you are and what you do.
Yes.
And doing it with so much passion that people are inspired to join you. And that's something that happened. We literally told ourselves that night that we met that we will not leave the same. And that's exactly what happened. We left from there and we decided to take what was honestly at one point divided and bring that together and join forces and use that synergy to be able to make impact in our community, put on different community events, and also show other people how to tell their story through their business. And, it's beautiful that we get to lead other people in our community, show them how to not only start a business, but how can you invest in businesses with your time, right? How can you be, a co-founder by just making sure that, you provide your skill set to a specific organization because maybe you didn't feel like it could be something that people will compensate you for, but people will compensate you for your ideas. And I don't think people understand that your ideas, that's currency. Yeah. Right. And I don't think, people understand that the intellectual property that you have, people will pay you for that. You can package that up into books. You can package that up into curriculums. You can package that up into so many different things. And that's something that we've learned together is like, how can we show people how to use what they have to create all that they deserve?
Fantastic. So, yeah. So that's very, we both talked about this, finding, your purpose or your mission, and that's maybe hard for some people to do. And I don't know if you remember one of the, like when you have an idea for a startup or a business, and that startup science thing, it says create your vision. Mm-hmm. And so people want to know where you're trying to get to.
Yes.
Yeah. Because if you're going to trying to get to somewhere good, they want to help you get there.
Absolutely.
And that's what people have to know what you're trying to do in order for them to help you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And
that's
so
good.
that's what the neat thing is about that. And so so it sounds like you all have both had a background in real estate and and so how did you all end up connecting with Make Startups?
Wow. So I'll tell you this. So we both have backgrounds in real estate and also banking.
Okay.
So my most recent job was I was a banker with a pending promotion to become a licensed banker.
Okay. At
Regions Bank.
Gotcha.
And on this particular day, so I was planning my transition out of the bank, and so I came up with this concept of I came up with this concept to be able to create your runway. So if you're looking to leave your 9-to-5 job, how do you create a runway to make sure that you can sustain yourself throughout? So I was also, and I still am, taking private lessons to become a licensed pilot, right? And so I was using this plane analogy, and how you create your runway to make sure that you can take off and to be able to soar through your journey from leaving your 9-to-5. And so I was sharing this with Pat, and I'm telling him, hey, bro, like, look, this is what I'm about to do. You know, my time has come, and so I'm ready to plan my exit. And so, you know, like Pat mentioned, we love to be able to help individuals to take what's inside of their head and get it out, and show them how they can literally take their ideas and turn it into something that people will pay you for. And so it was on this particular day when Pat was like, he sent out a message, and he's like, you know, I want to help you to be able to write this ebook, to be able to tell your story, to be able to put these things that's in your head on paper. And so we go inside of this building that's called a clubhouse. And we're sitting down, and you know, we're having a mastermind. And Pat's asking me questions. I'm you know, responding to him, and we're having this full dialogue, and we're building out this ebook. And we have it mirrored up on a TV screen that's right inside of the booth. And you know, as we're doing this, we're working for like 4 hours. And at this point, this gentleman walks over and he says, hey guys, you know, I don't mean to interrupt, but I see what you guys are working on, and you're working diligently, and I appreciate that. I just want to be able to give you my card, you know, because whatever it is that you're working on, you're very passionate about it. And I would love to be able to talk more as soon as you both have some time. And my name is Michael Newton Jr. And so, you know, we take that card, and we just take that opportunity, and now we start to build on that, and we start to now show up more. We're starting to consistently do things inside of the clubhouse, and that even turns into us now, that community that we're building with entrepreneurs. We now start to host events, and we host this, if you want to call it like a pitch competition. It was an event called Package and Pitch, which to date was one of our most innovative and successful events that we put on inside of our community, where we literally showed a room full of entrepreneurs and those that wanted to be entrepreneurs. Because there's a misconception sometimes that entrepreneurs are only people that go out and start businesses. But we also forget about like entrepreneurship and the mindset that it takes to become one. And so we had entrepreneurs and those that had the entrepreneurial spirit, and we put them inside of a room, and we talked to them about a sales methodology called the spin cycle, in which we broke down how to ask guided questions to be able to take someone on the journey, you know, and to be able to essentially find out what it is that they want to buy and sell them the thing that you have as it relates to what they want to buy. And we're doing this event there, and we start doing things just like that. And we start off with cameras. Like I said, my passion was photography. So we would just show up and just take pictures inside of the clubhouse, and we're taking pictures, showing up to different events, and we're doing little projects here and there, just finding ways that we can actually serve, because servantship is the highest form of flattery. And so we always talk about how being selfless opens so many doors for you. And that's literally what we did. We just found areas and opportunities to be able to serve. Serving with cameras, recording videos, taking pictures, putting things together, you know, for this person and that person. And eventually what that turns into is, you know, us taking our backgrounds and the different things that we've experienced, and now certain conversations now start to happen. And that now starts to turn into, well, what do you guys know as it relates to business? You know, we start sitting down, and we start having these conversations that ends up turning into the partnership that it is today. And
I would just add to that and say, you know, the biggest thing that we did to be able to work with Make Startups is serve, but also show up and have results. And those results wasn't how much money you're making. It's about how many people are you able to impact. And I always like remember a quote that talks about, you know, if you want to be a millionaire or a billionaire, like if you were to put a number on it, how about you help create those millionaires and billionaires? So one of the things that we've done is we've created communities of impact. We've created communities of just people that are so involved that they show up when there's time for masterminds, when there's time for us to put on different events that we were hosting weekly and monthly. We were putting on at least three to four events every week. And at that point, that got the attention of Make Startups of who's hosting all these different events in our space, right? And I think that's something too, is like the visibility came from us taking action and us bringing our community into the mix and educating them, creating curriculums. We weren't just waiting for people to, say, hey, join our program. We were creating programs, right? And that's something that allowed us to be able to draw the attention, but also be able to gain the support from Make Startups and say, hey, we would love to have you guys come on as, the partnership development team and help us be able to grow what we're doing here. And that's the beauty of what we've been able to do with Make Startups.
Okay, fantastic. And so say real quickly what the clubhouse actually is. Is it a space or is
Yeah, so in short, the clubhouse is a co-working space.
okay.
And inside of that co-working space, that's where Make Startups is housed. And so when it comes to the cohort-based programming that Make Startup does, it's based out of the building that is the clubhouse.
Okay. And did I hear that building is some type of cybersecurity center?
Yep, correct. So that's the Georgia Cyber Center. So you have the full name is like the Georgia Cyber Training and Innovation Center. I believe it is.
Okay. Okay. Wow.
And it's really amazing too, because a lot of people think that just in the clubhouse, they can use it just as a working space, but you can come in, you can host events there, right? You can come in and just sit and work and find opportunities for your business by just being inside of the building. And that's why we tell a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of founders, hey, if you're looking like to gain more exposure, come inside of our space, because what you will find is that there's so many opportunities that you can create if you're just sitting in there. We've came across so many opportunities for our business, for other founders, for people that are looking for guidance. I just say show up. Showing up is half the battle. So we encourage entrepreneurs to get inside of the space because it's transformative once you come in.
Yeah. So does Make Startups, do they charge of the space or?
Yes. So there's different tiers of memberships that you can have to be able to come inside of the clubhouse. That includes access to where you can rent out certain amount of hours from the different rooms that they have in the space. It also includes, they have snacks, they have, everything there for you. It's actually a 24-hour facility.
Gotcha.
So, it has showers. It literally has something that you can literally be there if you need to work, which is beautiful about the space. But Make Startups in itself, when it comes down to the program, it is a cohort-based program for 12 weeks. And for those 12 weeks, literally, they're teaching you how to not only understand your business and make it to where you're able to pitch your business, but also how are you able to go and secure funding from their programs and what they're teaching you inside of the 12-week incubator, right? And that's what's so beautiful, is that a lot of the entrepreneurs and founders that are coming out of the program, they're still allowed to be able to have contact with the mentorship that Clubhouse and Make Startups offer.
Gotcha. So did you all go through that 12-week curriculum?
Actually, yeah.
We're actually in it right now.
Oh, wow.
So we finally ended up joining the actual program Make Startups because we wanted to see what the hype was about. It's something that we've heard a lot about, and obviously being so closely connected at that point with the clubhouse, the building, and the people inside of there. There was all this buzz going around, and we're just like, okay, well, let's find out what this is about.
So do you all get to use the co-founder OS as part of that?
Absolutely.
So tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So it's Make Startups proprietary software that, it's beautiful because it's an ABI, it's an artificial business intelligence that allows you to be able to input your information about your business when it comes down to your customer problems, like different things as far as like even your financial, you can connect your bank account. So it can also test your financial readiness based off of your spending habits in your business. But after you're putting in these different responses, you actually have it like the internal feedback from like the mentors that's inside of the proprietary software, which is literally gathered from data from 75 financial institutions, but also is backed by, different stakeholders that have sold businesses multiple different times. So you take all that data that's implemented inside of the ABI and then now test your readiness based off of your answer. So the ways that we're using it is we're able to not only tailor our message and what we're putting out to our customers, but we're also able to use it as a ability to be able to go and seek more funding because of what it produces after you go through the proprietary software. So you can always go in and refine your answers. So let's say something is going on with your business, you're like, hey, I want to actually change up my model some. You can actually go in and it will provide you real-time feedback.
Yes.
So you're saying it's you're going through the training, but you're actually getting, financial access to financial software, I guess is that.
So you're getting access to see how financially ready you are based on your current spending habits, and also so as you submit your responses. So say if we're on say if we're on well how does your business make money? Where we're trying to dig into your business model.
Okay.
And say you include everything about your business model, but you don't tell exactly how you're going to make money.
Okay.
Then some of the feedback may look like, well, you have a beautifully outlined business model, but you didn't specifically say how you would make money inside of your business, and because of that, you don't have a viable business model. And so it allows you to continuously refine. And once you get to the point of taking your score from maybe say it's a 50, and now you're getting up to about that 80 or that 90 range. Because for us, we like to look for anything that's about 80 or above, because it shows some type of competency when it comes to that specific section. Yeah. And so as you move and as you give these responses, it gives you a score based off that response. Just as if you would in school.
So does it also the co-founder OS, does it also have entrepreneur training in it as well?
So actually that's what's actually being added to the co-founder OS software. So they're actually implementing more training that will be on there, but it's something that you're actually going through while you're in the program. So you're getting real-time training in person and via online while you're going through the program.
Okay. Yeah. And so I'm in their Make Startup Leadership program, and so we're looking at it from a standpoint of the platform from a standpoint of helping people get a certification in entrepreneurship from Make Startups.
Absolutely.
So have y'all noticed any of that stuff yet, or is that just that's something coming down the pipe?
As far as the certifications?
Yes.
So that's something that is provided at the end of the class. So, after you complete demo day, which is where it's a pitch competition, and they have a lot of different VCs, a lot of different founders that come out and support in the community. So after demo day is when the certification happens.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, it's one of the things I like about what Make Startups is doing. And it's this idea of teaching everyday people how to all the entrepreneurship stuff.
Yeah,
and then getting the certification, but also the idea of leveraging the workforce dollars to pay for the training.
Yep.
And so have you all been involved in any of that at all?
So when it comes down to the workforce piece, no. We're more on the side of going into these ecosystems and helping them have more accessibility when it comes down to the resources. But we are actually coming into opportunity now to partner in with some of the workforce department, especially when it comes down to like what they're doing in other cities by helping other ecosystems be able to have access to that.
Yeah, so it's just like from my standpoint, if the workforce dollars paid for somebody to get training, to get a cybersecurity certificate, or pay for somebody to get become a project manager certification. So this idea that Make Startup has is, why not have it pay for you to learn how to become a business owner, and then once you become a business owner, you can actually hire people.
Absolutely.
Yes, because that stimulates the economy by being able to provide more opportunities for jobs and work positions.
Yeah, and that's kind of the way I see things now is that entrepreneurship is a skill, and so you can actually learn the skill. But who's teaching Black people the skill of entrepreneurship.
That's a question.
Who's teaching them? And so when talking about business models, so who's teaching people, Black people, about business models? And teaching them about that. So like one of my biggest things is a person has to be empowered to do something. And what I see sometimes, we as people, we wait to somebody to tell us something to do. But if somebody told me create a business model and you're in charge, you can create it however you want, I would put all the best features in there. Wouldn't you?
Most definitely.
Absolutely.
Well, I wouldn't wait to say, is it okay to put that in there? Is it okay to? You already told me I'm in charge.
Right.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
They need guidance.
Yeah. You need guidance and you need feedback.
Yep.
But yeah. So just to me, a person, when somebody says you're in charge, feel free to be in charge. Yeah. And so yeah, if you need this partnership, or if you need to meet this type of person, you put it in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
true.
and whatever it takes to make it work. And so I like the conversation today, and this is what I kind of want to spend a couple of last minutes with. And I'm gonna pull this up. I may go to the website here, but I'm gonna go ahead and put this in preview mode. And so, like you all talk about vision, and so let me get this in the right thing here. And I just want to show you what I'm working with startups. Letting people know what our vision is, and wanting to train Black founders and having this Black founder program.
Yes.
I kind of want to let people know how much help you can actually get.
That's good.
So, and this is just an example. So we decided to do this summit, and so who are you to do a innovation summit? What should I wait for somebody else to do the summit?
Absolutely not.
Not at all.
Yeah. And then so if you notice, we got networking. You all talk about relationships.
Yes.
Okay, that's what networking is all about. But see, you get relationships, and through those relationships, you get access to resources.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So but you have to connect first and then build the relationship. So that's why you have a networking event. So at the summit, we're going to have the local county commissioners, the chief of police, all these city council. They're going to stop by so you can connect with these people to build relationships.
That's good. And a lot of times we want to skip directly to the resources. We want to know, how do we get the resources? How do we get the capital? How do we get the opportunities?
Yeah.
But we forget that there's a bridge. There's a stopping
It's
point
all
in the
about
middle.
relationships.
That's it.
It's all
Absolutely.
about. It's all about the relationships. So let me.
And all money is resources anyway. So if you can have that relationship that provides you access to the resource, that's going to buy product is going to produce, opportunities for capital, right? And I think that's why, we can't focus on just transactional thinking. We have to also focus on relationship building, which is beautiful.
Absolutely.
Yes. And so the Black innovation leaders of Florida say we need to come together and figure out how to be a part of this ecosystem and help make Black people aware of the ecosystem and all the resources in there. So like, I was on a board meeting today, and we're getting a grant to use tools to help people get their patents for their, intellectual property, get their trademarks.
Wow.
That's amazing.
It is.
Yeah, and so helping people be through with innovation and protecting their innovation.
Protection. Oh, that's a good topic.
So some of the board members will be here, and they're also participating in workshop. And so, and it's part of the innovation tour. So we did it in Tampa, Miami, Orlando, and so it's our time here in Pensacola. So so the innovation tour is coming to Pensacola tomorrow.
That's beautiful.
Wow.
And guess what? Visit Pensacola is welcoming all of us, all of the visitors in here to Pensacola. They're providing bags for everybody and also some VIP stuff.
What?
Wow.
So when people see what you're trying to do, they want to come in and help. But
That's
you
right.
got to have
You got to have something for them to help.
That's right.
yeah. And so the Core Institute, and so we always tell people it's about growing. In Swahili, it means growth. So we want people to grow in all ways, knowledge and wealth.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so the reception tomorrow on 5 to 8, Florida Blue is sponsoring that. Yeah. So they put up the money for us to have a really, really nice reception. And so, but all this is through relationships.
That's it.
Come on, that's good. That's all it is. Amazing.
Yeah. And so the speakers, so Dr. White, she charges $7,500 for her stuff. So she's partnering with us at a lower rate so we can get her. But she's wonderful. So and so and Rose, I can't say enough about Rose. She's just engaged and excited, and she wants to help businesses, even if you're a nonprofit, to help you learn how to use the data and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, and so we're looking forward to having her here, and so Dr. White and Cherise is on the board as well, but she has her own company, so she's going to be here leading the capital panel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay.
Yeah, and LaTanya is going to be doing the Successful Black Founders panel.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And so the Successful Black Founders panel, these are the founders that are going to be participating. And man, I went to his website today, and he's got all kinds of products. Can you imagine using a product before you go work out, and it prevents your muscles from getting stiff and stuff like that?
Wow.
Yeah, his grandmother's recipe.
Yeah,
that's beautiful that he's continuing that.
It is carrying on the legacy.
Yeah, that's really legacy.
And this lady here, Shantia, she's bringing in. She's on fire, and so she's gonna share one of her investors' name. This investment person is looking for ideal stage startup at the ideal stage. And you remember we showed that's like way before you start your business,
right? And
he's putting up $50,000 if you're at the ideal stage and trying to build a scalable business.
Wow.
Yeah. So wouldn't you want to be able to pitch your idea? It's just an idea right now.
Wow.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Wow.
Yeah. And so that's the kind of connections. And so when you're a startup founder, you're actually building a product. So Adrian is a mechanical engineer, but he's been doing design, almost all kinds of stuff. And so if you're designing the product, he's the guy to kind of move forward with it. So, yeah. So we wanted to have examples of successful, folks that are having success, and that's kind of what we did. So Wanda, we call it Dr. Wanda Deep Designs. What a name for a company. But yeah, she was down at Synapse and telling everybody about the Florida Black Innovation Leaders of Florida, and so that's really good. But all of her partners in our company have PhDs.
What?
And they help people develop software and all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
And so she knows all about leveraging government dollars, in innovation, the small business innovation research and all that kind of stuff. So she's going to be sharing her knowledge there. And so Black Business Innovation Fund, Helena, her company is one of the sponsors too. And but they're want to get the word out over here, and so she's got an interesting last name, Shirley. So did y'all see the movie The Green Book?
I have not.
I haven't.
Yeah. So you are you familiar with the character, the guy Don Shirley that was the book is about? So the bottom line is, so the book is called the Green Book, but you know he was but Chase, he grew up here in Pensacola.
Really?
Yeah, and his father pastored the church here. Just so we didn't go. If we had walked up one more block yesterday, we'd have been to the church.
Wow.
Yeah. So so she's done Shirley's niece.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
It's a small world.
Yeah. And Corey is one of our mentors. And so he's been through Forex. He's been through companies, including Meetup, you know, so he's an accredited investor.
Wow.
And he's also right now doing our level 2 lean stack training to get certified as a level 2 coach.
Nice.
Oh, that's amazing.
In lean stack. So that's there. Okay, that's the, now we look at some of these sponsors. Florida Power and Light, they've been, you know, yeah, they've been, it's just amazing, you know, relationship with them. And so they were the ones that kind of started, put up the money for our lean stack platform.
Okay.
Yeah, to get that going. And so the significance of that, by getting them putting up the money for that, now we get to offer business model design training to as many Black founders as we want to. Many founders as we want to. Can you imagine all Black founders knowing how to design or out there working on stress tested business models? So they've been stress tested for desirability, viability, and feasibility.
Right.
So you know that the business model is not broken.
Right.
And so they are. So can you imagine being armed with knowing your business model is not broken, it's viable, and you can get to go through the phases there?
That's good.
Wow.
Yeah. And so Synergy Construction Group, Ron, I've only seen Ron one time in person, but we've been knowing each other for over 10 years, and I connected to him through just networking. He's still to this day, in his spare time, he works with NSB working with the students and stuff like that. Yeah. So, but anyway, he's been telling me for 2.5 years we need to do a conference. So, and he said, well, if you do it, we'll sponsor it. So he's the first one to write a check for our sponsor.
Oh, that's beautiful. Wow.
He's coming all the way from St. Louis. Yeah. And so, yeah. And
That's
so,
what I'm talking about.
yeah, the First Bank, so they're one of our breakthrough sponsors. So they didn't even hesitate. And so one of the folks that work at the bank, Ira Bates, he's judged probably, over the past 3 years, maybe 6 or 7 of our demo days. Yeah. So and Chandra's also going to be here from the bank there. So the Renaissance Bank, they came back on board again this year to help us out. And so all these people, all these companies, they provided sponsorship for us to help people learn the best practices of building a startup and how to innovate from there. So they say, well, we know what you're trying to do, and we'll be glad to help.
Wow, that's great.
But it's just through through the relationships.
That's it.
Yeah. Yep. And so during the reception tomorrow, our board chair runs this company, but she's through her promotions, we're going to test out some different drinks tomorrow. Julie Shepard, she's been a long friend of Robin and I, and so she decided to sponsor personally.
Wow.
Yeah, she does business development for HMC. Yeah, Clark Partington, one of the largest law firms here. They see what we've been doing over the years, and so they're supporting. Can you imagine getting people catching onto your vision and say, "Yeah, we'll help you."
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful feeling.
Yeah. And so that's just that. So this partners the Chambers offices downstairs, the network of Black professionals. the BIT Foundation.
Mm.
Yeah, and so the BIT Foundation, and we have a local chapter here, and they're help sponsoring the thing.
Mm.
So,
Okay.
so we did 4 Bit of Small Design workshops for BIT members last year from all over the world, and
Wow.
they got like over 30,000 members all over the world now. Yeah, and guess what they do? Guess what they do? They give if you're not a member, you make a mistake. It's free to join, and you get access to all these discounted or free things. Training, all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
So we partner with them to offer the starts to their folks.
That's really.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely be utilizing that information.
Okay. We got. I'm going a little overtime, but I just want to let people understand what will happen. When you build these relationships and share your vision with folks.
Absolutely.
So isn't this amazing? All these sponsors,
Wow.
and it's pretty. They sponsored at least a dozen of our demo days. Yeah. And so guess what? They're also donating a door prize for the giveaway, and it's at a free 2-night stay at any one of the hotels from New Orleans to Jekyll Island to the Caribbean or here.
Wow.
So that's gonna be a nice door prize. Yeah. Now, who's this? Yeah. So,
Shout out to Make Startups.
yeah. So the Haas Center. So the Haas Center is a university center for the Economic Development Agency, and so they're providing free resources to veterans and minority-owned business.
Whoa.
Yeah, and they got 3D printer capabilities here, and so they'll do a prototype. If you got an invention or something, they'll do a prototype of your invention and do market research for it.
Goodness.
And so they put up money for us to do marketing.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's for the
Florida
blue.
Blue. Yeah.
Yep, and urban development is right here in the building. They made the sponsorship as well.
Okay.
They're here in the building.
Oh,
They
yeah.
made-
Understand now. Yeah.
Yeah, and see now, okay, radio station. Yeah, so so I had an interview with them on Wednesday morning.
Wow.
Pensacola News Journal. They did a big story on what we're doing. I don't know if WBQP is going to actually. They may even be here filming the thing as well. Channel 3, the local TV station, and Weekly. They did they've been promoting it as well. I did an interview with this radio station.
Wow.
Yeah. So you see what I'm saying?
Oh,
yeah. And so that's when you connect and build a relationship. You can't, if you want people to help you, you have to build a relationship with them.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and that's really fantastic. I did want to share that. So you all have any parting thoughts before we sign off here?
I think the biggest piece that we've all hit on is, really find yourself in community, because it would truly help you not only collapse time, but more opportunities will be provided if you seek out networking events, but having your mission and value proposition ready to be able to communicate that to other people so that they can join in and have something to join, right? And I think that's the biggest piece is don't go in just looking to take in and consume. Create those opportunities by showing up and expressing not only what you do, but why you do it. I think that's the biggest piece that will not only build relationships, but build sustainability.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. That's really good. I guess the last thing that I would say is if you're at a point right now inside of your business, inside of your startup, inside of your organization, inside of your school, wherever you currently are in your life, if you're having an issue, you don't know how to go out and authentically build relationships, how to create these, when we talk about accountability ecosystems, that's literally a ecosystem inside of your organization that allows for every member to be accountable for. Imagine what's worse than being an entrepreneur or being the CEO or being a leader of an organization, but you don't have a team that's able to actually execute on the priorities or things that you all have that you say that you want to achieve as an organization. That's exactly what we do. When we talk about building these accountability ecosystems, it's literally creating an environment where you can walk in, you can share the vision, and you have a team that's accountable to be able to now take that mission and to execute on it. And to not only execute, but also go out and find other members and find other people that can partner with you on that mission to make it a reality. So listen, reach out to us at info@newlevelstrategy.com. Shoot us a quick email, say, hey, listen, we were on the Startups Best Practices. We're listening to what you all were saying, and something that you said resonated with me. I want to be able to have more conversation to see how possibly we can help you to be able to aid and to be able to partner together to be able to achieve the things that we all have that we want to achieve as individuals, because it's literally in this life, there's few things that we're meant to do alone. And, you know, regardless of your faith, regardless of your religion, God literally placed us in the environment to be able to create and to be able to create with other people that are meant to be able to create with us, to be able to literally achieve the things that we say we want to do. So reach out to us at info@newlevelstrategy.com. We want to be able to talk to you. We want to be able to take your dreams, take your goals, take your organizational milestones that you want to reach, and we want to make those things happen. And that's the last thing I'll say.
And fantastic. So, you said, what was that email? So say the email.
So it'll be info, so INFO at New Level Strategy.
I'm the wrong one to type.
.com.
Am I doing any good here?
Info@newlevelstrategy.com.
Yeah, add one more E after the L, new level. Yeah, right before the B. Right before the B.
Oh, right here.
Yep, right there. Yep.
Okay, can't even see.
I think added after. Oh, yeah.
Okay, keep talking while we.
All right, so info@newlevelstrategy.com. And normally we don't do this, but shoot us a personal text at 706-840-3066.
Yep.
Text us your name, text us your organization, text us what it is that you stand in need of right now. If you're looking to be able to better build community, if you want to understand how to build genuine relationships that lead to passive commitments, shoot us a text and tell us exactly who you are, where you're located, and let us know how we can help you on your journey. So do you have anything else you want to say?
You know, when you all were speaking earlier, something that came up was the African proverb that we always talk about, which is, you know, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, let's go together. And we really believe if you move in unity with your community, you will be provided with more opportunities. So, and that's something that we love to talk about. And one of the things that we talk about a lot too is don't be afraid to take that leap. You know, when you start doing what you fear, it definitely will disappear. So, you know, move into the uncomfortable things, you know, understand that you don't have to be alone in your journey. If you're, you know, looking to grow your organization, understand that there are people that want to invest into that. They just have to know. So don't be afraid to ask for help. And that's literally what we're here doing. We're literally providing that assistance through being that example. Yeah. So, you know, allow us to be able to come and work with you, partner with you, and reach out to us at info@newlevelstrategy.com. We would love to be able to add more impact and more results in your company.
Yes, and I put this up on the screen. So if we had a question on what time was the reception started, it's here at the Kukui Institute, and it's from 5 to 7. So we're going to be having the registration and doing the networking, and then Saturday morning registration started at 8 a.m. and things start here, but we're going to be at the Video Square. So just make note of that. But reason why I put this up as well. Even if you can't make it, you still should register to get access to the live stream. And even if you should do that as a minimum, because what's going to happen, we're going to put more information on this site. And one of the things that's on the site already is this opportunities. So we've been curating a database of opportunities for founders. And so so this database has opportunities after opportunities in here, and they have links that you can actually go to and do it. So we've even categorized them the opportunities for people of color.
Wow.
Yeah, so we've got probably close to 1,400 opportunities in here, and our staff updates them daily, and so you will know. So this is just a resource, and so we have resources for women, resources that are closing soon that you need to do right now before. Like here's one that's closing today. You see, so that's what. So, and we're going to be adding more detailed information about all these things the summit is doing. We're going to collect all the information, all the videos, and the other thing that that I wanted to point out on this. Let's see, get to the right point here. So let's go back to the agenda. That's what I'm trying to get. So it's information about our Black Founder Program. And so y'all talked about the mission, empowering Black founders with the skills and resources to launch innovative ventures, fostering a diverse ecosystem.
Yes, that's amazing.
Yeah, and so we're offering all these services, and so we put the summit at $100 value, but we actually got our sponsors paid to cover 100 people. So you see, and so that's what I'm trying to tell people. And so also you see this symbol here is called CODA. So we're using this tool to host a website for the thing. And so now, as of today, we are a partner with CODA, and we get to offer founders 6 months of free service and unlimited use of AI with this stuff.
Wow, come on.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you're talking about stuff that's available for founders. People just need to start listening. And I'm way over here, but I just want to make sure I'm so excited about the summit, and so definitely, I'm looking forward. You got the question.
Someone ended up asking, "What is the site?"
Okay, the site. Oh, I was just typing that in. Go to kukuinstitute.org, and then and hit the best hit there's a big old button for the summit. And,
Okay.
Yeah, so that's let's see. So Lord Junior, would you put the Kukui Institute thing in there? Let's see.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the summit. This has been building momentum for the day, and I think that's for the days actually. So it's going to be amazing to get things kicked off tomorrow and see all the impact. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, you can register at that site, and then fantastic. So yes, but anyway, you can go to our and I'll just show people all the stuff we offer. We actually put it on our site, so you can see. So when you go to the site, let's see, I must have this thing on the scale thing here. 175. Wow. It's still pretty big, huh? But anyway, just hit the get. So here's the thing for the summit. If you want to know all the programs that we offer, we have this innovation skills initiative programs where we teach you about the innovation jobs. We have the if you want to join our Startup on the Blocks community right there, and then this is the link to that thing. It was just showing you the opportunity database.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. So yeah. So right. So all right. So we're gonna go ahead and sign out. We thank everybody, and looks like was you ready? Okay. So fantastic. So she also put it up there. All right. Thank you all. We'll see you all tomorrow at the summit, and also online. We're actually gonna publish a link for the networking tomorrow too. So if you can't come, you can actually do it online, and also all the links for the for to watch the workshop. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you all next week.
All right, have a good one.